Jorge, such an exciting episode this week, but I have to say, I'm just relieved to hear that there's gonna be a finale on So Serious. Oh hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, Episode 12. And before I get started, I just want to send out a couple of shout outs. The first one, hello Zachary, how are you my darling? Thank you for sharing your fabulous picture with me and our Ms. Cox, Jackie Cox. But mostly, thank you so much for getting your mother Miranda to help you tip me. So generous with your money. Now, just in a piece of advice from your Auntie Wilma to you, Zachary, save your money. Save your money for university, save your money for college, or maybe you don't have big aspirations. Save your money and help your mother out with the rent. Not now. You're 6, but soon. Speaking of being tipped, I also have a few names to thank from PayPal, but unfortunately some of these names are a little challenging for me. I mean, no offense to you, Stephanie, but this is a lot of letters for one last name. God bless you. I just feel sorry. Every time I see a name like this, I feel sorry for credit card companies that have to stamp that out. Do you know what I'm saying? But bless you. Santawanapap. I'm just going to say that it's Stephanie Santawanapap. If I'm wrong, please let me know that I said it wrong, because I wouldn't want to say it wrong on purpose. But it mostly makes sense if you just kind of read it slow once or 30 times before you start filming. I'm just saying. Also, Don Bleisner, bless you, thank you for your tip. And here's another name, Brian. Brian, I'm going to say it's probably Fuchs. But it's spelled Fuchs. So it kind of looks like fucks. I'm sorry I said it, I didn't. It's like my mom's gynecologist. His name was Crouch, but everyone knew it was Crotch. I'm just saying. So Brian, I'm sure you have issues with explaining how to pronounce your name. If it is Fuchs, as in fuchsia, then let me know. If it's not, and it actually is what I said, good for you. That's a heck of a last name, I'm just saying. Also, Diana Montana tipped me on PayPal, and Norman McFall, thank you all so much. Now, I also want to thank T-Rex, Commander T-Rex on Instagram is how, Instagram is how he's known, sent me this photo of him in Sweet Marie in a Ships at Sea, blue t-shirt, and coffee mug. I mean, the coffee mug obviously isn't blue, but seriously. Thank you to you, T-Rex, for shopping. I hope you enjoyed those. And also, last week, he had a button. This week, Richard Rockafan has the Whore Red t-shirt, a huge seller on Redbubble from the Wilma Fingerdoo collection. I am just serious. Of course, that's the largest Sousa design, and thank you to him for designing it, and thank you for Richard for shopping there. I'm so serious. If you're interested in tipping me or buying something from Redbubble or supporting me on Patreon, all the links are down below. And while I'm talking about them, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And once you're done watching the video, if you liked it, hit the like. Don't lie to me, but seriously, if you didn't like it, just don't say anything. I'm so serious. So, now it's time to get to the review. Jorge, drink me! Oh, look at this colorful little cocktail. What is this? Ooh, Italian cherry soda and vodka? You didn't have grappa? Just vodka? All right. Ooh, mille grazie, Jorge. Seriously. All right, so let's get to it. Well, we started the episode off by saying goodbye to Heidi. Aphrodite, Heidi Ho, Heidi, whatever you want to call her, but she'll always be Heidi Oh My Heart, and you could see that the girls were gonna be missing Miss Heidi, I'm just saying. And then the lights went out. Seriously, just like that. Either somebody forgot to pay a bill, somebody kicked a power cable out somewhere, or they were having sex on the generator truck. I don't know what was going on backstage at RuPaul's Drag Race, but the queens had to wrap it up and continue it the next day. The basic point was they were all sad to see Heidi go, and our Ms. Cox crowned herself the Susan Lucci of drag, mostly because she wasn't getting crowned for much else. The next day in the workroom, the power was back on, so the queens got a chance to finally read Heidi's message and then clean it off. And Gigi was just hell-bent. Hell-bent! She was going to win this challenge. She was in the bottom twice. She wasn't going to let it happen again. And again, I just want to say, I'd be afraid to get in her way. I'm just so serious. Thank God Ru showed up with this week's mini challenge, which was to create a Vegas-style headdress that screamed Viva Drag Vegas to promote RuPaul's Drag Race Live in Las Vegas. Well, this was a hell of a mini challenge because not only did the girls have to create the Vegas-style headdress, which I was impressed by all of them. They were all pretty good, I'm just saying. But they also had to get into quick drag. Thank God we had that new pit crew member, Sammy Elliott, to ogle. Seriously. First up was Jada Essence Hall as Toffee, who liked to wear costumes made of hopes and dreams so she could crush them. And the name of her Vegas show? Huh? God bless. Next up was Gigi Good, who shared with the room that her favorite pastime was cliff diving at the Hoover Dam. Oddly enough, Hoover Dam was my drag queen name in high school. Next up was Sherry Pie, who was having a touch of the snake arms and seemed to be only able to move left and right. But my favorite part about her presentation was that she didn't accept cash tips. No, just canned goods. No, she accepts them or catches them as they're thrown at her. I don't know. Fourth was Crystal, better known as Slut on the Strip. And she's famous for her dance moves, especially the banana hammock, which she actually had a lot of trouble remembering. So she's not a good slut, but she's willing. Our Miss Cox, aka Fuzzbox, Barf, said that her show was called Workin' Her Merkin, and it started at midnight because that's when it grew, and I'm assuming is what she meant by that. But what I loved most about our Ms. Cox was Crystal pointing out that she was making all those noises. I thought they were actually sound effects. I thought that they were post-production add-ons. No, just our Ms. Cox. Yeah, I know. It's not all Canadians, I'm just saying. So who won the mini challenge, you ask? Well, it was Ms. Gigi Sweet Beats, and she won a trip for two to Las Vegas to see RuPaul's Drag Race live. And, well, she was super excited about that because she's going to take her mom, which is usually the traditional guest that one takes on a weekend to Vegas. Kids. And then Ru told the queens about the Maxi challenge, which was a musical of sorts. It was really a medley of songs from the actual Las Vegas show, RuPaul's Drag Race Live. And the girls were also going to have to record a rap for one of the songs. I'm so serious. So, with that fear in their hearts, the queens got to work. Our Ms. Cox was really hoping that this was going to be her first win because she felt it put her on her better trajectory for the crown, because the last person to win the crown, Evie Oddly, had only ever won one challenge too, so she certainly would be in better company with a win, I'm just saying. Jada Essence Hall was finding the hardest part about writing a verse for the rap was writing a verse for the rap. I'm so serious, and I have to be very honest, I'm surprised that she was having difficulty because she is just so quick with something to say. She's always not only got something to say, but it's usually very eloquent and makes the point beautifully, succinct. I think that Jada Essence Hall naturally has a gift for the gab, but maybe because she doesn't see herself as having that or is unaware of it, she lets it trip her up. I'm so serious. But Jada wasn't the only one having trouble. The girls from episode 1 who had to write a rap lyric for I'm That Bitch weren't feeling too confident either. Even though Gigi Good was hyper-focused on securing her 4th win by wowing the judges, she did take time out of her plans for world domination to help Crystal, who was clearly having issues with this challenge, which I have to say I'm surprised at. But when she started saying why she was having trouble, it was that translation of how you're feeling into words. If you're not able, under stress and under duress, and when you're told to, be able to translate those emotions into actual words, it can be the worst thing ever. And clearly, Crystal was suffering from just that. I'm so serious. The rest of the room was super eager in helping Crystal out by helping her write her lyrics. They said, well, glitter, there's your word, and then helping her rhyme glitter with bitter and quitter and my personal favorite, kitty litter, which nobody mentioned, but clearly then most of them don't want to win, I'm just saying. Then it was off to the recording session with Freddie and Leland Scott. First up was Gigi, and I thought she did really great, although she was flat, and I don't mean flat musically, I mean just energy-wise. They even said to her, you need to step it up. You're writing these fierce lyrics, you got to follow them up with fierce intent. And then Gigi got completely hung up at the end of her whole thing with the kiss. The kiss at the end held her up, and I know how she feels. Our Miss Cox did an excellent job as well, but she needed to loosen up as well. She even said that her need to be perfect all the time trips her up, and it was very obvious during this recording, I'm sorry to say. Crystal was as cute as buttons, but surprisingly needed to amp it up a bit, like by 50%, I'm so surprised. I mean, she's always so over the top. It was weird to see her kind of be shy. And even she felt a little embarrassed by it. So she took the bull by the horns and amped it up. And by amped it up, I mean took off her jacket. Seriously, she was not playing. Jada was fourth up to the mic, and she wasn't kidding when she told Leland that she wasn't allowed to sing into a microphone. The world had spoken. And as cute as that was off the top, when she started singing, I could see what she was meaning. God bless her. Now, here's another thing about Jada Essence Hall that makes me laugh, is as naturally gifted for a catchy phrase or a fabulous soundbite as she is, she's also got a very melodic voice. It's up, it's down, it's very expressive. And again, it was just very shocking to see such a powerful personality diminish herself by that mic just being right there in front of her face. Seriously. I was just surprised. I thought she had a lot more confidence than that, I'm just saying. And then I heard her sing, God bless. God bless. God bless. Yeah, it didn't get better from there. Thank God for auto-tune, I'm so serious. And then it was off to rehearsals with Jamal Sims, and the girls were super excited. Well, excited and scared, but he drew them close down a dark, slimy path. So sorry. I thought I was in Into the Woods there for a second, I'm just saying. First of all, Jamal Sims had the queens work on their group choreo, which, oddly enough, our Miss Cox seemed to be the only queen that got it. And I have to say, it wasn't pretty, but at least she was getting it. Oddly enough, not pretty, but at least she's getting it, was the name of my one-woman show. Then it was on to individual choreo, and I have to say, our Miss Cox didn't have too much trouble getting the choreo down, in theory, but she just lacked any grace or fluidity. She just seemed to be in love with biting her bottom lip, and I have to say that the fact that she was wearing flats, I think, actually helped her dance like a dad. Sweet beats. There was nothing about that choreography from Jamal, no offense, that said a drag queen should be doing it. It looked very hip-hoppy and something someone in pants should be doing. And then on top of that, poor Jackie Cox. She's just not built to move that way, I'm so serious. Crystal was next, and she's an amazing dancer. Very talented is the mantra that she used to get through what she thought was very complicated choreo. But what was funny about her choreo, which she seemed to be getting as well, was when Jamal said they were done, she seemed to be surprised by that. It's like she had built a bigger mountain in front of her, and when she actually got to it, it was just a molehill. I'm so serious. Gigi Good looked like a nerdy boy from the cast of Stranger Things, or so our Miss Cox thought, which bothered her because apparently she holds the patent on that look. Jada Essence Hall did all right, but she had her issues too. But clearly, she, out of the group, was the best. Even Jamal said as much and said to the girls, this is what you need to be doing. But they all needed to ramp up their confidence, which I always think is so funny to say to a drag queen, but we also have to remember that when people are rehearsing something for the first time, whether it's a play, a dance, a song, whatever, that first time nobody's confident. You have to feel it out at first, and then you make some choices, and then you get more confident. And that's the thing with any of these rehearsals in the history of RuPaul's Drag Race. It always looks rough. It's darkest before the dawn, and then the dawn comes up, and good, bad, or ugly, those queens have to hit it, and they usually do. Just saying. The next day in the workroom, to celebrate their last day in the workroom, there were drinky poos. I'm so serious. But even a nice morning buzz didn't keep Gigi Goode from her focus or Jada Essence Hall from bringing the magic. The rest of the girls were just happy for the liquor, I'm just saying. So as the queens were getting ready, they shared their first impressions of each other. Gigi Goode told our Ms. Cox that she thought she was a fashion girl at first. That's okay, because our Ms. Cox told Gigi that she thought she looked like a campy costume queen when she first walked into the workroom in that Captain Morgan's rum getup. I'm so serious. And of course, that went over like a lead balloon with Gigi Goode. Of course, our Ms. Cox says it was a costume. Gigi says, look. I say choices. Seriously. Everyone told Jada that they thought she was the pretty girl, even when she was painted like an apple. I'm so serious. And everyone agreed that Crystal had changed the most, and not just her makeup. Now, if only she could get a handle on that confidence. Sherry Pie must have been worrying about the Maxi challenge too, because she asked the room if they thought their report cards for the season would be coming into play with the judges' final decision for top 4. And of course, everyone felt that they would, because they were running a pretty tight race. And you could see that was worrying our Miss Cox, because if that were true, it would put her and Crystal in the bottom. But our Miss Cox wasn't going to let that get her down, because she was determined to send someone home. Seriously. And then it was time for the runway. Ru looked gorgeous this week. I'm really loving this big blonde waterfall of hair that she's been sporting the last couple of looks. I mean, I'm not saying that she's been doing the same look all the time, but I like that look when it happens, I'm just saying. And it was a full house on the judges' table. We had Michelle, Ross, Carson, and Jamal. I'm so serious. So, first up on the runway was the medley of RuPaul's Drag Race Live. And I have to say, all in all, I really enjoyed this. I thought the opening, having all the girls in their actual entrance costumes, was great. That little number of them all in little peignoirs and that was touching. I got a little misty, certainly. And then that final number with the rap. I mean, all in all, it was a lot of fun, but I couldn't help but feel that this whole episode was clearly and obviously, and I'm not saying that this was a problem for me, but a huge advertisement for this RuPaul's Drag Race live show in Las Vegas, which I'm pretty sure has not happened at any point at this point, because maybe at the time of filming they had it up and maybe they had a soft opening and maybe they had shows going on. But clearly that's something that has been shut down, which is too bad. But I will tell you this. I am super happy to know that RuPaul's Drag Race does have a show that's in Vegas, because that's the forum for a show from RuPaul's Drag Race. I've seen them here in Toronto. They're great shows. They're not, don't get me wrong, but they really scream for that Vegas sparkle. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, Vegas drag queens, old as the hills. I felt that our Miss Cox killed her solo number during the rap, and I thought she actually was sexy. I mean, at least for a minute or two, which was a minute or two longer than she was during rehearsal, I'm just saying. Gigi Goode looked great. That whole red, the fact that the red of that costume matched the red of that wig was fantastic. And that whole, when she came strutting down that, it was over. As far as I was, if I had been one of the, I would have been like, do we have to finish? Clearly. I mean, she really, it was something. And her number, she killed it again. And there's no reason to think she wouldn't, because she's totally killed it during the Madonna musical as well. So clearly, Gigi's the Rusical girl. Just saying. Jada Essence Hall looked fantastic, but then she always does. Her singing, on the other hand, was really the only downside to her whole performance, and it still didn't hold her back. I mean, there was that one moment in the song where she kicked her leg up, and in the recording, it was a much more emotional vocalization. I wish she had been like that throughout most of the recording, because the rest of it was just very one note, very clearly one note. And it wasn't often the right one, I'm just saying. Sherry Pie was a bit of a letdown, I have to say. I mean, her lyrics were fairly lackluster, unimaginative, really said nothing about her. There was some funny notes to it, and I thought she, in general, looked okay, but as Michelle Visage pointed out, that outfit was also a little pedestrian compared to what the other girls were wearing, I'm just saying. And then it was time for the Eleganza Extravaganza Runway, and Crystal was up first, and I have to say, wow. If anyone else had tried to wear that down the runway, I don't know if it would have come off as well as it did on Crystal. And I think that's down to Crystal's personality. I think Crystal's personality could sell, I don't know, it's anything she wants. I think that the world is Crystal's oyster. And clearly, I mean, her Gloria Swanson Smurfy goodness was weird, definitely, but she sold it. The blue face, the turban, the jewelry. I thought she looked great. Seriously. Second down the runway with Gigi Goode, and her Eleganza Extravaganza also surprised me because it was so chic. That jacket and the skirt was so chic, and the red wig was stunning, but that ruffled top, the bow tie, and the headgear made me think of Joan Cusack in 16 Candles with the dancing. It just was so funny, but what was my favorite part about it was how chic it still was. If she wasn't wearing that ruffle shirt, the bow tie, and the headgear, that with anything else, a bustier, anything else underneath, would be still the chicest thing in the room. I'm so serious. Third down the runway was our Miss Cox, and out of the gate, first glimpse, gorgeous. Gorgeous. I loved it. I know what she means, the Christian Dior silhouette, that tight bodice, the big unnecessary skirt. But I have to say, I wish that the bow had been either a different color, just to break it up, because it just became this big amoeba of color really on her. Or at the very least, like Marilyn Monroe's bow on the back of her Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend pink dress, the inside of that bow is lined in black, so it breaks up the pink. If she had had lining in her bow that was a different color just to offset, I think that whole dress would have done better. And again, I'm going to have to agree with Michelle on this. That hem was all over the place. This is where a precise eye needs to be engaged, because that hem on that hoop skirt. Now, I know why that hem was all over the place. That fabric, when you saw it, was very light. It seemed to move independently of the crinoline that was underneath, the hoop underneath. And if you're making an outfit like that, that fabric needs to hang on that form. So, like, this is why a lot of those dresses are velvets and things like that. They're just because they have some weight to them. And this fabric looked almost like that metallic wrapping paper. Like, it just was almost weightless. And so it was distracting. I'm not saying that our Miss Cox didn't look gorgeous. I loved the blue wig. It was a nice touch. Her makeup was lovely. But that eleganza wasn't as extravaganza as it could have been. I'm just saying. Sherry Pie wore another mermaid tail outfit down the runway, but this time the old lady she was dressed as was Mae West. Felt more like Meh West, but that was me. I'm just saying. Jada Essence Hall's dress was stunning. I totally agree with Carson. It absolutely did look like a Nolan Miller original from Dynasty. The gold of it was gorgeous. The Nude Illusion sections of the dress were a perfect match. Even the bead, the stonework as straps, and then the cape off the shoulders. Oh, it was just stunning. That's elegant extravaganza. Seriously. So when the glitter all settled, it was very, very clear, and rightly so, that Gigi Goode was this week's winner. That's 4 wins for her. So now she's at the top of the leaderboard. 4 wins for her, 3 for Jada Essence Hall, 2 for Sherry Pie, 1 for Crystal, and still none for our Ms. Cox. And on top of that, it was our Ms. Cox and Crystal who were in the bottom. God bless them. And I have to say, this was a fun lip sync. I am going to also say that I thought our Ms. Cox had this in the bag. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Canadian. I'm saying that because I just felt at one point in the lip sync with Crystal that she just ran out of steam. For some reason or another, she just seemed to slow down a little bit. She just didn't seem to be popping it as hard as off the top. Whereas I felt with our Ms. Cox that she kept that whole routine, the energy of it throughout the whole thing. The intensity was there throughout. And then she took off her shoes. What have we learned from RuPaul's Drag Race? You never remove your wig or your shoes. Sweet Marie and the ships at sea. It was all over for me there. I knew that Ms. Cox, the pride of Canada, was going to be going home. And it broke my heart. It broke my heart because I do feel that she outperformed Crystal a snoochy snooch. But I'm not sorry that Crystal stayed. I'm not saying anything against Crystal. I think that it's well-deserved. And even if you're not looking at report cards, Crystal has been impressing the judges a lot more, regardless of where she's been landing in the critiques, than our Miss Cox has. So, sadly, it was our Miss Cox who had to say goodbye right before the top 4. And I have to say, now, there's been a lot of talk online, and of course, people have been wondering about this all season, but with our Miss Cox being in the top 5, and Sherry Pie being completely eliminated, will they put our Ms. Cox in the top 4? Here's the other thing. They are totally doing a reunion episode next week, and they're totally doing a finale the week after. How are they doing that, you ask? Well, they filmed the whole thing on social media. They did it all on Skype or whatever, or FaceTime or whatever. However they did it, they filmed everything already. They've edited it already. It's ready to go. Apparently, the reunion episode next week will be kind of like a slumber party. They will be answering questions from fans. None of it will be live, which I'm glad, because I find those live things sometimes hard to watch. They're a little choppy. But, I mean, seriously, if they filmed everything and then edited it themselves, then I just feel it's going to be a fantastic thing to watch. And very groundbreaking. I think this will set a precedence for things in the future. I'm so serious. On top of that, the reunion the week after, they've already filmed it. So I think it would be great if our Ms. Cox was brought in for the top 4, just so there were 4 girls to compete. But who's to say? Maybe just for simplicity's sake and for not making a huge production, at least a bigger one than they need to at this point, they'll just take their loss and keep it down to 3. Who's to say? What do you think? I'm certainly going to be tuning in to both shows, I'll tell you what. And I will have a review of both up here. So all you have to do is tune into those shows, and then we only got 2 weeks to find out who will be crowned the season 12 Queen Supreme. And, I mean, what a season. Certainly. As odd as this season is, and as unique as the challenges that were presented to it this season, I think it was an excellent season, and I am certainly excited to see all of the queens from season 12 do a tour. I think they all should. I think they all should do a tour so we can all get to see them after all of this, seriously. So, Until next week, miss me! Mwah! Seriously, Jorge, I'm super excited. I'm so glad there's going to be a finale. I didn't know what they were going to do.